Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country ending and what happened to Kirk's original crew explained. Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country was the final voyage of Captain James T. Kirk William Shatner USS Enterprise, and it marked the 25th anniversary of Star Trek, the original series in 1991. Directed by Nicholas Meyer, written by Meyer and Denny Martin Flynn from a story by Leonard Nimoy, Lawrence Connor, and Mark Rosenthal, Star Trek VI saw Kirk and the USS Enterprise A uncover a conspiracy to prevent peace between the Klingon Empire and the United Federation of Planets. After Captain Spock Leonard Nimoy rescued Captain Kirk and Dr. Leonard Bones McCoy DeForest Kelly from the Klingon prison planet Rurapenth, they continued their investigation of how the Starship Enterprise could have fired a photon torpedo at the Klingon flagship Kronos 1. Kirk was framed for assassinating Klingon High Chancellor Gorkin David Warner, but the conspiracy was still afoot and aimed to stop peace talks at Camp Khitomer near the Romulan border. Star Trek VI's conspiracy against peace between the Federation and Klingons was a far-reaching cooperative between a handful of dissidents within the Alpha Quadrant's galactic powers, each dreading how an end to hostilities could destabilize the galaxy. Captain Kirk also had help from Captain Hikaru Sulu George Takei of the USS Excelsior. Together, the Enterprise and Excelsior brought Star Trek VI's conspirators to the light of day. The Klingon Empire was forced to pursue peace talks with the United Federation of Planets when the Klingon moon, Praxis, exploded in 2293. The loss of Praxis, the Klingons' chief source of fuel and energy, meant they could no longer afford their 50 years of hostility towards the Federation. Serving as Federation Special Liaison, Captain Spock negotiated peace terms with Chancellor Gorkin and offered to host the Klingons aboard the USS Enterprise A, to Captain Kirk's chagrin. However, the conspiracy to stop galactic peace was well underway. Masterminded by the Shakespeare-spouting Klingon General Chang Christopher Plummer, the conspirators included the Romulan ambassador Nanklas Darrell Enriques, Starfleet Colonel West Rene Auberjonois, Starfleet Admiral Cartwright Brock Peters, and Lieutenant Valeries Kim Cattrall, Spock's Vulcan protege, who was stationed aboard the Starship Enterprise. Captain Kirk was specifically handpicked by General Chang to take the fall as Chancellor Gorkin's assassin. Kirk and McCoy were then to be murdered on Rurapenth, far from the prying eyes of the Federation. Meanwhile, the conspirators planned to murder the Federation President Kurtwood Smith and possibly Gorkin's daughter, the new Chancellor Azipur Rosanna de Soto, at the Khitomer Conference, guaranteeing war between the Klingons and Federation. While Captain Kirk and Dr. McCoy were imprisoned on Rurapenth, Captain Spock's investigation concluded the Starship Enterprise could not have fired on Kronos 1, but a cloaked Klingon bird of prey did. Spock also deduced Gorkin's true assassins were still aboard the Enterprise, although they were later found murdered. Once rescued, Captain Kirk put the piece Spock was missing together that LT. Valeries is a conspirator, and they sprung a trap that caught the insidious Vulcan. Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country was more than just the sixth film in the legendary sci-fi franchise. It was a swan song for the original Star Trek crew that had captivated audiences for over 2 decades. Released in 1991, the film offered not just an interstellar political thriller, but also a poignant farewell to Captain James T. Kirk and his iconic bridge crew aboard the USS Enterprise A. Packed with themes of change, forgiveness, and legacy, the film closed one era while hinting at the possibilities of the next. The ending of The Undiscovered Country, set in the aftermath of a catastrophic explosion on the Klingon moon Praxis, The Undiscovered Country finds the Klingon Empire facing ecological and political collapse. The Federation sees an opportunity for peace, but not everyone is ready to let go of old hatreds. Captain Kirk, still reeling from his son's death at Klingon hands, is thrust into the heart of a conspiracy when he's chosen to escort Chancellor Gorkin to peace talks. When Gorkin is assassinated, Kirk and Dr. McCoy are framed and sentenced to life on the penal asteroid Rurapenth. Meanwhile, Spock leads an investigation that uncovers a conspiracy involving Starfleet officers, Klingons, and even a Romulan ambassador, all trying to sabotage the peace process. With time running out, the crew rescues Kirk and McCoy and races to stop another assassination, this time at the Khitomer Conference, where a peace treaty is to be signed. The climax takes place in orbit over Khitomer, where the Enterprise battles a prototype Klingon bird of prey with a cloaking device that allows it to fire while invisible. In a clever ruse, Spock and McCoy modify a photon torpedo to home in on the bird of prey's exhaust, allowing them to destroy it and prevent further bloodshed. Kirk delivers a powerful speech, declaring that some people are afraid of change, but that the future must be embraced, a theme that echoes through the final moments of the film. In a beautifully symbolic final scene, the Enterprise is ordered back to space dock to be decommissioned. Instead, Kirk decides to take the ship on one last cruise before retirement. As the camera pans up, he gives a final captain's log. This ship and her history will shortly become the care of another crew. To them and their posterity, we commit our future. They will continue the journey we began and journey into the undiscovered country, the future. The ship sails off into the stars, a literal and metaphorical voyage into history. What happened to Kirk's original crew? While the Undiscovered Country offered a heartfelt send-off, it also left fans wondering, what happened to Kirk, Spock, McCoy, and the rest of the crew afterward? The film avoids tying everything up in a neat bow, allowing expanded universe novels, comics, and later films to explore their individual paths. James T. Kirk. Kirk's story doesn't end with the Undiscovered Country. He makes a pivotal appearance in Star Trek, Generations 1994, where he is pulled into the Nexus, a dimension where time has no meaning, and later aids Captain Jean-Luc Picard in stopping a dangerous villain. In doing so, Kirk sacrifices himself, ensuring the safety of millions. His final words, "It was fun," are a fitting tribute to a life of heroism and exploration. Spock's post-Enterprise life is defined by diplomacy. Inspired by his experiences in the Undiscovered Country, he dedicates himself to fostering peace between the Federation and the Klingon Empire, and later between Romulans and Vulcans. He appears in Star Trek: The Next Generation and plays a key role in the 2009 Star Trek reboot timeline, where he's portrayed by Leonard Nimoy one last time as Ambassador Spock. Dr. Leonard Bones McCoy. Bones transitions into a respected elder statesman within Starfleet. He appears in the pilot of Star Trek: The Next Generation as a 137-year-old admiral who inspects the new USS Enterprise D, symbolically passing the torch. His acerbic wit and humanism leave a lasting legacy on the generations that follow. Montgomery Scotty Scott. Scotty's story takes a time-bending turn. In Star Trek: The Next Generation, he's found alive in suspended animation inside a transporter buffer on a crashed ship decades later. He's briefly brought back in the episode Relics, where he grapples with the changes in Starfleet, a touching meditation on legacy and adaptation. Hikaru Sulu. By the time of the Undiscovered Country, Sulu is captain of the USS Excelsior, showcasing his growth and independence. His leadership is instrumental in helping Kirk's crew uncover the conspiracy. His daughter, Demora Sulu, later serves as a helmsman on the Enterprise B in Star Trek: Generations, showing that the Sulu legacy endures. Pavel Chekhov and Uhura. Chekhov and Uhura quietly transition out of the spotlight. While their futures aren't.